Travelers on the Omnibus occasionally touches on mature subject matter with mature language. As such, audience discretion is advised.
Welcome to Travelers on the Omnibus, a field trip through the darkest recesses of the human mind.
Also,
I'm
nerd and pop culture.
Oh, God.
JL Kite.
Oh, dear Lord.
Oh, shit.
I'm Ethan Skinner.
J. Julius McCarthy.
Oh.
I'm Brady Davis. I don't have one of those fancy names.
Dude,
Yeah.
you could be JBD.
JPD.
I'm
What does that have to do-
EHS.
What is that?
John Brady Davis.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, you could be JB. Like, he was JL Kite. I was J. Julius McCarthy. You could have been JBD.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Can I recant my name?
No.
No.
Damn.
It's too late.
No, wait. Let's see what he does.
Okay.
I'll allow it.
I was just going to say EHS.
Oh, okay.
Okay, no, that's good.
All
That's
right,
good.
sure.
Okay.
Sure.
You sound like,
a high school, but
yeah,
that's fine.
yeah.
Right, right.
I've
right.
made that joke my entire life.
How many bad poems have you written over your life?
How many S's have you drawn? How many of them fancy S's that look like 2 rupees have you drawn?
I was going to answer Jody's, but now I'm ashamed to answer yours.
I mean,
Speaking of shame,
Bianca found the mating tent.
there
Yeah.
we go. There
Yep.
we go.
There it is.
that's our second in a long series. You may remember the first one,
I've discovered the power of the breeding pen.
and
Yep.
then
Yeah.
You have 2 of those, and they are both
Yes.
about breeding.
Yeah.
A third one, and it's become a kink. Like, it's a thing now.
it's already a kink. Then
That
it
is
becomes a
true.
shameful kink.
Well,
Jody, what have you been
Jody,
up to?
with that
start it off,
transition,
please.
so I've currently been trying a lot of different games recently because there's been a massive sale for the past 3 years from PSN on PS4 because they don't have anything better to do.
Yeah.
They're not really putting out a whole lot of AAA games for the system right now, so they just keep like trying to, pawn off all of their wares for under $10.
Mm-hmm.
And I purchased Battlefield 1
All right.
because one of my best friends told me that he liked it and it was an enjoyable experience, and it actually has a pretty active community for a game being out for 8 years because certain game companies only put out good shooters every so often.
Yeah.
And for some reason, this one still has servers. Chaos isn't the definition that I could even come close to using for Battlefield 1. It is absolutely bonkers insane how crazy that shit is. The first game we get put into, I spawned in mustard gas.
Nice.
That's getting clipped.
Yeah.
That's getting clipped specifically.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Then, the second time I got spawned, I got killed by a battle cruiser next to the coastline within like 30 seconds.
Jesus.
Okay. And the third time you spawned?
The third time I spawned, there was like a plane going overhead, and then a guy shot me in the back.
Damn.
Because I was like, what the fuck is that? Boom, dead. And then I discovered how to switch to anti-air rifles and super grenades to blow up ships, and that was absolutely fun to be able to blow up a tank. And then we're playing for 20 minutes, and I'm like, oh man, we lost. And he goes, but wait, there's more. Phase 1 is over. Phase 2 has begun. I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now? So we were playing like a territorial mode of the game where it was kind of capture the flaggy. Much like the Call of Duty territories and Halo territories where you had to stay in the area. So not like capture the flag at all. So we played that session for 30 minutes, and then we played another one. And he's like, so what'd you think? And I went, well, didn't you say Apex was going back to duos this month? Looks like I'm deleting this 100 gig game off of my hard drive to download Apex Legends to get back into that. So that was a fun little $7 ride. Now, the way I look at it, is at least three of us at the table remember the last bastion of when they were renting video games in what was called video stores. And the price of rentals were around $6 to $7 for 2 or 3 days for most of those. So that's what I look at it like.
Okay,
I looked at it. I spent money on a rental for a video game that I didn't like, and I'm moving on with my life. So there's that. And then just last week, Vampire Survivors was made available on the PS4. And I've been playing the shit out of that because that game's really addictive. It has a really kick-ass, like Castlevania-like soundtrack to it. Yeah, waves and waves of different enemies,
and art style.
And art style. You got waves of enemies, bats and stuff, and you get different upgrades and different weapons and all that. I thought, because I hadn't played it before, that it was a twin-stick shooter, and I was wrong. It's a one-stick shooter. You move around, and you just shoot. Depending on what character you pick, sometimes they'll shoot in wherever direction you're pointed, and sometimes they won't. Sometimes they'll shoot in another direction. But the great thing is you can pick up different other weapons like the axe, and the axe will just be thrown somewhere. And there's like fireballs and different really cool lightning effects and things like that. And so you're picking up those, and then some of your upgrades are like, instead of one axe, how about throwing 2? How about throwing 3? How about like a row of 3 different holy Bibles surrounding you, mowing down the enemies while 14 axes are shooting in every direction, and they do twice as much damage now because of all the mods you get. So it's super fun. I've only played it for maybe 4 or 5 hours, but I've been having a good time with it. And then I've gone back. I was in the mood to watch some Cyberpunk stuff over the weekend, so I went back and watched Upgrade again. I saw it in the theater a few years ago. I think it was like right before COVID. I think it was like 2018 or something like that.
Yeah, I think I finally watched it in 2020 when it was on streaming. But yeah, I think it's like maybe 2018.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And it's a fun movie. I might have mentioned it briefly on the show before, but it's set in the distant future, but it's very urban. There's a lot of like, squalor happening. You have the class divide. There's really no middle class. You have poor people and you have people with augmentation. And our hero, if you want to call him that, our main character, let's say that. Let's not call him an antagonist or a protagonist. Let's call our
protagonist.
He's the main character. And spoilers, if you see the trailer, you already know that some shit happens to him. And so he gets upgraded with AI. This is before any sort of like artificial intelligence was like in the zeitgeist of the mainstream media or anything like that. Chat GPT probably just came out. Nobody knew what the fuck it was. And so it's basically like a battle between him and the AI. And, with the AI in his brain, he has the ability to do some superhuman stuff. So it's a really cool movie.
Yeah. This is like he was paralyzed in the
he becomes
was paralyzed and his wife died.
He becomes spoilers. He becomes.
Well, I mean, that's like the inciting incident of the
right.
That's how the movie starts.
They put the AI thing in there to control his limbs. So.
Yeah, it's the first 10 minutes of the movie.
If you see it, like you see that in the trailer, because
you do.
Because he's doing because he lets the AI control him, and he's like doing things and killing people. He's like, what the fuck? Like, Jesus
Some
Christ.
of the coolest augmentation in the movie is like there's these like bad dudes that have like shotguns in their arms. It's pretty badass shit. Pretty cool.
I saw it like once whenever it first came out. I have to like rewatch it.
Yeah, it's a really good movie.
I like it. It's different. You can tell that they had a budget, but it wasn't a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so they worked with that. It's got some really cool choreography when it comes to the fights. Your bad guys are pretty believable.
Yeah.
And it's got some really, really awesome arcs and more than one plot twist.
Yeah.
And the plot twists are pretty decent, I think.
Definitely. That main guy, he's the guy who plays the main character, is in a couple of other like kind of low budget things that are really good. He's in the what's it called? The Invitation. And he's also in.
I need to watch that.
Fuck. It's the
Intrusion, Lou, Sandcastle, Adopt a Highway, Devil, Redeeming Love, Reverse the Curse,
there's one where there's a
Prometheus.
no, there's a zombie Nazi zombie movie.
White Snow?
No, it's not that. It's not the one that's in the snow. It's the one that's actually in World
That's
War
Dead
II.
Snow.
It is Dead Snow, yeah, my bad.
Lou?
No.
No.
Are we even thinking about the same thing?
Maybe not.
Logan Marshall Green.
Yeah, Logan Marshall Green.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to find it.
It's like Over something. It's Project Over something, or
Overlord.
I think it's Overlord.
Project.
I think
It's Overlord.
yeah, I think it's just called Overlord.
It's Overlord. Yeah,
Yeah.
that movie's awesome.
That movie is very good.
Very very pulp.
Yeah, but he's in a lot. He's in a lot of stuff. That he's one of those guys where I'm like, I think I might check that out if he's in it,
Right.
if he's starring in it.
I also started rewatching Cyberpunk Edgerunners. I'm about halfway through rewatching that. That show is even more somber
Yeah,
the second time you're watching it because you already know the fate of the characters that have their own specific fates tied to that story. And then we were talking about this on the way up here. Not much is known, but CD Projekt Red and Netflix Animated Studios are doing another Cyberpunk TV show that is not attached to Studio Trigger.
Yeah.
Which that doesn't surprise me because I imagine they're probably working on something else. They never stop.
yeah.
The project that they had started after they had done animating Cyberpunk Edgerunners was Delicious in Dungeon.
Oh yeah.
That's the show that is, I think it's just now finishing up, and so they're probably already about to have another show come out soon. But yeah, and then I did one other thing. I started Cult of the Lamb.
Yes.
I really enjoyed it so far. I'm gonna have to upgrade my account again to play it more because it's $25, and me and indie games have this agreement that I won't buy them most of the time when they're in the $20 range. I usually have to wait till they go down.
Yeah.
But the game's really fun. I'm enjoying so far what I've played to a point. I do enjoy the combat. The second boss killed the shit out of me multiple times. And I'm starting to get slightly irritated with what has now become micromanaging a bunch of followers.
Oh yeah.
It's like, oh, time for another sermon. Oh, you got to feed us. Oh, we got to build something. Oh, we got to do this.
It's irritating in the beginning until you like upgrade your shrine to the appropriate levels to unlock the self-managing.
You can mitigate everything by basically pawning off all of your jobs to other followers. But there was a moment where like near the end of my play session last time where one of the followers came up to me and said, "Hey, wouldn't it be funny if we fed Fiora some poop?
Oh yeah.
And if you don't do it, your cult takes a 25% hit on the loyalty."
Yeah, it's either feed your loyal followers shit or lose their faith.
Yeah.
There are some that's like, oh, great leader, please send this follower that's been mean to me on an expedition to retrieve more followers, and if not, I will kill myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is ridiculous.
It's pretty silly. I do like the somewhat Zelda layout of the dungeons. It's pretty cool. I like the fake language. It's cute. I like the mechanics of oh man, here's some tarot cards. Pick one.
So you know how there's like the fishing dock that you find while traversing the Crusades and whatnot. If you give him all the fish that you're supposed to get, like the octopus, the squid, the lobster, and the other pufferfish, he gives you a holy talisman that allows you to unlock a new ceremonious robes. And each different robe has a different effect when you go on crusades.
Oh, okay.
So like the one that we got was at the beginning of a crusade, you automatically draw 4 tarot cards, but you can't draw any more while on a crusade.
Oh, gotcha.
So it automatically gives you those bonuses at the beginning, and it's just, hey, you're stuck with these.
Right. Yeah, it's a fun game. I can see the charm in it. You know, people wanting to play it. It's got a very cool aesthetic, very cool look, and yeah. So that's me, Ethan. What have you been up to?
Cult of the Lamb.
Wait, he said that.
Well, it's me also. So,
Okay, they're okay. Just
like last time, me and Bianca, we discovered a certain tent that they give you the option for. And people may or may not be making eggs.
Oh.
So Bianca found the mating tent. Yeah. So people are fucking now.
Oh.
And they're like
We
laying
gotta make
like,
a little more cultists.
Yes. I've discovered the power of the breeding pen. Yes. Like they either lay
I'm trying to shorten your segment. There we go.
a regular egg or a golden egg.
Oh.
The golden egg, like whenever an egg is ready to hatch, you're able to like give it traits of the parents. So that way you can like craft your perfect followers and whatnot.
Right.
But if you hatch a golden egg, then it gives you new follower traits that aren't available previously. So it's like really good. The forms of them are completely random. Like they either take after one of the parents or just completely different.
Nice.
It's very, very funny. They shit a lot.
They do.
They shit a
All
lot.
of them shit a lot. You know, the funny thing about the game too, that I thought was like hilarious was I was cleaning up follower poop, which is something that you do. But hey, you can use that for fertilizer later.
you can.
And sometimes there's golden poop. And I was cleaning up the followers' poop, and after like I don't know, like the 8th one or whatever, my broom upgraded.
Yes.
And I was like, what the fuck?
There's more than golden poops.
Oh, I'm sure.
There's rainbow poop,
Oh, yeah, sure.
sparkly poop, bedazzled poop.
Oh.
Oh wow.
There's a secret follower form that you can get if you craft like 12 poop bowls. They all like spawn like in like a circle, and then the middle spawns a blueprint for the poop follower. That their poops are always golden, and whenever they poop, it grows legs and it just follows them around.
One other thing that I had an issue with is so I chopped down the 2 big monolith stone things that were in the village. They're 2 giant just pieces of stone that have like different symbols on them or whatever, and it took forever. And now I don't have any trees or any rocks right now.
So there, whenever you're like collecting devotion, you're able to unlock the lumberyard and the stone mine.
Yes. I don't have the resources yet because I have to go back into the crusade and get more resources in order to do all of that.
It is very tedious with the micromanaging, but once you get to the point like, oh, I can upgrade my kitchen so they can cook for themselves.
Right.
I can unlock the janitor station so they can clean up after themselves.
Right.
It's very convenient, and you're basically only needed to tell them when to eat and to praise you.
Right. And 3 different ways you can make them pray, too, for that matter. It's like the sermon, the ritual, and something else.
Sermon, ritual, and then just all around like inspiring them to do good, which also increases their loyalty.
Do evil, you mean?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Sin. Besides Cult of the Lamb, they had the PlayStation State of Play announced yesterday with a whole lot of stuff. The one thing that I am particularly excited for is the sequel Ghost game, Ghost of Yotai, which is takes 300 years in the future, separate from the Jin Sakai storyline.
Yeah.
And it just looks beautiful and amazing. Like I'm I'm more than likely gonna like pre-order this on next payday. Yeah, it just looks amazing.
Yeah. More importantly, though, the Lunar Remastered Collection was announced. That's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, when Brady mentioned that, I went, ooh.
Yeah, because I've played the ever-loving shit out of the first one, Silver Star Story, but I never got a chance to play Eternal Blue just because I never was able to. By the time I actually got around to like thinking, hey, I need to pick this game up, like it was impossible to find.
And Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver.
Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver.
See, that's
remastered collection. I'm excited about that one too. But Lunar is the one that I'm like really, really excited for because Lunar Silver Star Story is like one of my top games of all time.
They announced a new game called The Midnight Walk, which is the same people that made Lost in Random, which is a really good like indie style game, which I'm a little excited for. They announced the Alan Wake 2 DLC for it, as well as DLC for both Astrobot and TMNT Rise of Shredder.
Okay. For me, it was just those two things, really.
Yeah.
The Ghosts, I need to play the first one, to be honest.
It's so good.
I have it. A friend gave it to me, but I just haven't cracked it open.
It's just so good. It's just completely just draws you in. And then they also announced a release date for Monster Hunter Wilds, which
Yeah.
I tried several times in several different Monster Hunter games, and I just can't get into it.
You either Monster Hunter is basically your entire life and personality, or you hate Monster Hunter. There's no in
You
between.
can play it solo, but unless you have, I won't even say necessarily a dedicated group, unless you have a regular group that plays with you, there is a level of fun, at least for me, when I played it, and I played Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate when it came out for the Wii U, of all things. When I had other people playing with me, it became a much more enjoyable experience,
Right.
because it was teamwork comes into play, knowing what to strike and how to like organize that. There's some things that are just clearly impossible. Like you have to bring an egg. Like one of the things you have to do is bring an egg back from an enemy nest. And if you get hit once, you drop the egg and it breaks. And Mama immediately notices that the egg is gone, and she strikes you, which breaks the egg. And now she's super pissed. You can't. No. So you have to have people like to distract her while you take this egg, and then you've got to like turtle walk this thing back a long way, and it's just not fun. That part's not fun alone. With other people. Like you do it like that's almost a D&D campaign or a section of a D&D campaign. So I appreciate that.
The only one that I was actually like interested in playing in was Monster Hunter Stories 2, and it is like the Pokemon logic, like rock paper scissors combats, finding eggs and raising them as your own sort of thing. But that was also when I was delirious under COVID. So
one thing I found hilarious was the announcement of Like a Dragon be a pirate or whatever it was. Do you not know, Ethan?
Sega knows how to do these things.
Right.
Yeah.
you said like a dragon.
Like a Dragon. It's part of the Yakuza series.
Yeah.
What? Okay.
Like a Dragon pirates.
Yeah.
Type it in.
Yeah. Look at it right now.
We'll wait.
I'll even cut portions
Like a
of this.
dragon, Yakuza pirates in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
That
What is this?
that sounds like a 90s TV series starring Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
It looked actually fun. It really did.
What is this?
Yeah.
This looks cool.
It does
I need to
look
go back and play one of these newer
The Yakuza designers know what they're doing.
because like I played one of them a while back, and I can't remember which one it was, but like I did not enjoy myself, and I just
If you're going into a Yakuza's game expecting like a super serious story, like Yakuza to me is the Grand Theft Auto series as done by Japan, as opposed to Grand Theft Auto as it's done by Scotland, because that's where the Rockstar main headquarters are.
Yeah, the Like a Dragon series though is like a lot more like just wild arcadey. Like it just reminds me of Dreamcast games.
yeah, well, like one of those I need to try out and go back to it.
This looks cool.
Oh yeah,
I want to play it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah,
It's like, playing Assassin's Creed Black Flag, except they won't pull you out of the experience to remind you that you're in a virtual reality. Anything else, Ethan?
That is me.
Jay, what you been up to?
All right, so guess top of the order. I didn't mention this in the prepare meeting, but TCG card shop simulator. I've got a workbench now where I can just like take cards and make bulk boxes and then sell that for even more money. It's great.
Hell yeah.
It's so good. Getting to where I can do the next big shop expansion. There's a way you can get a second shop, so you have to monitor 2 shops, so then you have to start paying people to run them. And just like I won't say it, just I'll say this. Just like in real life, the talent pool is weird.
Yep.
So I'm gonna leave it at that. But again, I'm enjoying it as a very just casual sim game. The gateway to freshness is up at the door. No stinky people. Again, you know what? I'll go to the other side. Donald Trump, if you get hired as president, I want you to make Ozium for all, so that we don't have to smell people anymore. It'd be great. Appreciate that. If you could do that, that'd be great.
The views of James McCarthy do not reflect.
The reviews of James McCarthy don't affect the reviews of James McCarthy either. So let's stress that one right there. But yeah, no, I just like the idea of like spraying people down with Ozium.
Yeah.
That part is great. I just want to. It's a bipartisan. I want a bipartisan effort to get Ozium sprayed on everyone.
We take you now live to eating cats.
I now have this image of Jay just hiding in bushes in the park, and as people walk by, he just jumps out with dual wielding Ozium, just spraying them.
Triple wielding. Figure that out on your own time.
Oh no!
Nope, not thinking about that.
There you go. So I played some more Marvel Champions. Me and John Sheldon started the Rise of the Red Skull, and we started out with Crossbones. Handled it quite easily. We almost did it without the first scheme going off.
Yeah.
Which only requires 6 threat to fucking trigger, but we kept that shit trimmed.
Yeah.
And I was playing Doctor Strange, and he was playing his version of the domino deck that we had built, which is pretty much that domino deck minus the cards from Doctor Strange, because if you want to find a Doctor Strange pack, prepare to kill. Yeah, or check eBay for lots that have been playing. Oh, I'm just getting out of the game and look for Doctor Strange that way. So that was pretty good. And I had to take the edge off this week. About halfway through the week, I pulled a double at work, and I needed to take the edge off that before the edge went on. And so I watched a John Carpenter classic, Big Trouble in Little China.
Hell yeah!
And
nice.
that was a lot of fun, and it helped profusely. I love the fact that that's Kurt Russell doing his best Jack Nicholson impersonation. I love the fact that he works for the phone company as a ruse to get into the Lopen's building, and so he carries an actual rotary phone with him. See him from the phone company. He's just walking by, and it just works. That's great. Kim Cattrall.
Oh yeah.
That character, I'm going to say this that character was whitewashed. That was clearly supposed to be an Asian character. And there's we have too many Asians in this movie called Big Trouble in Little China. And so it's just me, Gracie Law. I'm like, okay. She knew the assignment, though. I'm going to say that right now. She knew that this was a
Kim Cattrall always knows the assignment.
Yes, yeah.
Oh yeah, every time.
It was a fun.
She also plays the same character in every movie.
Sort of, kind of,
yeah.
Almost. But hey, I'm not complaining too much. What was that line he said he's like, there are not that many girls with green eyes, Jack.
Yeah.
And we have 2 of them.
Yes. We're gonna kill one and marry the spoilers for arguably the best Carpenter movie.
That movie had some weird
it's
random
definitely
shit
up there.
Yeah.
Fucking the ball of eyes.
Yeah.
Just running around.
Yeah, you mean like the Sword of Beholder?
Yeah,
the Sword of Beholder.
basically.
Yeah.
There was a monkey demon.
Yeah, that hitches a ride on Jack's truck at the end.
One guy who's like, he sees the bad guy get defeated and he just blows up.
The movie literally.
It's like they were like, we can't figure out how to defeat this guy. Why don't we just blow him up? Why doesn't he just get mad and he blows up?
The movie inspired half of the Mortal Kombat cast from the original video game.
This is true, yeah.
And then an extra third of it in the next, one. I love the fact that the playout song is sung by John Carpenter.
Oh,
Big Trouble in Little China. God.
The best thing about the movie is that Kurt Russell isn't actually the main character. He just thinks he's the main character.
Right.
It's the other guy who's actually the main character of the movie.
Yeah. It's his girlfriend that got kidnapped.
And whenever almost every time something actually gets done, it's by that character and not Kurt Russell's character.
Yeah, Kurt Russell's
he just jumps in and like takes credit and everything.
Or Egg Shen.
Yeah,
Egg Shen in his Seven Thunders bag.
Yeah.
My favorite part, like they're going through the cave sewers to get into the place, and then just like a wall fish eats a dude, and Egg throws a fucking thing. He said, "Don't come out of there ever again." And Jack's like, "What the fuck's going on?"
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah, great
I completely
movie.
understand why that bombed at the theaters.
Oh yeah,
and why eventually it made it. Not even cult class. This is a classic movie.
Oh
It
yeah,
just is.
for sure.
And because it's a great film. If you go into the premise knowing this man is a fish out of water, sometimes literally in the movie, and just goes out just completely.
He's a fish out of water, but he still thinks that like
he understands everything.
He understands everything. Like he's so delusional.
He's such a buffoon. In that movie.
Yeah, he is an absolute buffoon.
He thinks he's so smooth when he goes in there to try and hire a hooker.
Yeah.
Or what? It was like, I'm looking for a girl with green eyes. Do you see any girls with green eyes?
I think that particular portion was inspired by Harrison Ford in Blade Runner.
Oh yeah,
maybe.
Because it was like, excuse me, Miss Salome. It's like that, I'm hearing that voice immediately. So so that is.
I gotta go back and watch that.
Yeah, that's pretty much me. Yeah, no, that movie was desperately needed to take the edge off the movie we watched for this week. Spoilers. Moving on.
Brady, what you been up to?
Okay, so this latest season, I guess is what we'll call it, of Marvel United that I backed finally came in. I've been able to play a couple of times, played once with friends, and then played a couple of times just by myself, just to like play some characters that I'd wanted to play. It's a really fun version. It's got some really interesting characters. These are like all kind of like alternate. Most of these are like alternate versions of like characters. Like we've got, Jane Foster Thor, and we've got Shuri as the Black Panther. We've got Spider-Man 2099. We've got Ironheart. In the main box there, the villains are Maestro, which is an alternate version of future version of Hulk. We've got Emperor Doom, God Emperor Doom, but they just call him Emperor Doom, but it's God Emperor Doom from Secret Wars. And then we've got Immortus from who is a version of Kang. And then we've also got Cosmic Ghost Rider, who is one of the best characters ever.
Yes.
A couple of his cards even have him like riding his cycle with baby Thanos strapped to the front of him. He's great. He can be a villain or he can be a hero, which is cool. They really like a lot of these guys are kind of out of the box, which is very interesting. They do some of them like you can't like you don't just kill them, you have to do other things to beat them. They even had like one of them, US Agent, he doesn't have his own like master plan deck. You use his hero deck because he can be a hero as well. And when you flip it, just whatever symbols are on that depends on what happens. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah, it's a pretty cool one. It's got some very interesting characters. This is where they introduced equipment. So usually every deck has a double wild card, but you can take that card out and you can use the equipment instead, which lets you do something, but then you flip the equipment over, and usually you either gets removed from the game, it's a single use thing, or you can do something, you can spend something to flip it back over and get to use it, which is an interesting twist. The really cool thing was that like equipment came for like the older heroes. So now even like some of the heroes that I have from like the second season, they have different things for them now. But it's really, really cool. I'm really glad that I got it. Marvel United is one of my favorites. It's probably my favorite co-op game, to be honest. But it's really cool. Yeah. I watched a couple of movies. I went and to the theaters to watch The Substance, which is a body horror movie starring Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley. Unfortunately, I had to see it at the Grand, and the Grand did not fail to disappoint, because during the whole movie, it was me and it was like two 20-ish year old girls behind me, and they talked the entire fucking time. But they got theirs because halfway through the movie, a ceiling tile fell on one of them.
Nice.
Like they kept talking, and I heard a and I thought one of them had for some reason fell out of their chair. And I look behind me, and there's like shining their light from their phone up, and I see a ceiling tile missing.
That's not as bad as my Borderlands experience, but that's a pretty good one.
So the movie is body horror. It's a very weird movie. Just to give you a little bit about it, Demi Moore is an aging actress who it's really kind of a surreal world. Because she's like used to be a big star, and now she's doing like an aerobic show, but she gets canned from that because she's turned 50, and she finds out about this stuff called the substance, where it basically creates another you that you go back and forth between. I don't really want to say more than that, and you have to keep a balance, and just let's just say the balance gets fucked up. It's really, really weird. It's disgusting. The sound design is some of the grossest sound design I've ever heard. Even when like there's not anything like body horror disgusting, like there will just be like they will just like Dennis Quaid's in it, and he's like eating shrimp, and it is the most disgusting eating shrimp I've ever seen. It is just so gross. Dennis Quaid's like he's playing a real Dennis Quaid character in this one. His character is just really gross and weird. The whole world is kind of weird. And then we get to the finale, and the finale is absolutely bonkers. And the girls that were behind me get up and leave, which made it so fucking funny. I was buzzing by the end of this movie.
So really and truly, thank you, The Grand.
Yeah,
Really.
thank you, The Grand.
Yeah.
I still wish that, because they were like, what is going on? I was like, it's not that fucking. I will say this: the movie is not subtle. It is very easy to pick up everything that is happening in this movie. It is not like it is as subtle as a brick. It hits you over the head with its message. And they were just like, what is this going on? And I'm like, Jesus Christ, just shut the fuck up and watch the goddamn movie. But they got hit with a ceiling tile and got disgusted and walked out. Unfortunately, as I was walking out after the credits started rolling, I saw them getting a free ticket, I guess. Which if they were getting a free ticket because they walked out, fuck you. It was like 15 minutes left in the movie. Right. But if it was because they got hit in the head,
I think it was for the ceiling tile.
If it was because they got hit with the ceiling tile,
there it was because of the ceiling tile.
I don't know.
That was a combination, probably.
But
they used the ceiling tile to their advantage.
Because they were sitting there. They were like 20 more minutes before they walked out after getting hit with the ceiling tile. Like they did. Like one of them was like, I think we need to go tell them, and the other one was like, No, we're watching this.
Yeah.
Let's wait till after the movie.
Yeah.
They did not. It goes off the rail, and it goes off the rail in the grossest way.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It was very, very good.
Yeah.
Of course you enjoyed it.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Did I not tell the Borderlands story?
No, you didn't.
We
tell
have no idea that
Borderlands.
you've seen Borderlands.
Oh, fuck! Rest stop! Hey, everybody. Future Jay here. So, yeah, we had a rest stop because I had an experience watching Borderlands. And if you would like to hear more about this experience, it's going to be our next rest stop, which will be coming out in a few days after this episode. Or if you are listening to this in the far future, it will be on Spotify right now. So yeah, Borderlands. Check out my review? ? Back to the Past.
Anyway, The Substance is a good movie. Also watched another movie that finally came out on Max. I can't say HBO Max. David Zaslav will put me in jail.
HBO Max, take me away, please.
I saw The TV Glow. It's a movie that I've been wanting to watch for quite some time. It is a good movie. It's a weird movie. But it's a good movie. It is a slower movie. One thing that it is not is a horror movie. This is one of those. So the one thing I like A24 is a production company. The one thing that I don't like about them is oftentimes they will very deceptively promote their movies. They did the same thing with It Comes at Night, a movie that was set up to be one thing and everybody got disappointed because it wasn't that thing. And that's why a lot of people say they don't like that movie. I think it's the same thing. The people who are saying that they don't really like I Saw the TV Glow is because they expected like a really creepy, scary horror movie, and it is not that. So the main character, it kind of flashes through time. He kind of connects with this girl in his school who's a little bit older than him through this kind of young adult TV show called The Pink Opaque. And then one day the girl like disappears and then she comes back, and it's about him like thinking about the show and their time together, and things get really weird when she shows back up. It kind of is about nostalgia. It's a hard movie to really explain without just explaining how the movie goes. It's a little non-linear, but it's a weird movie, but I liked it. It's just, don't go into it thinking that it's going to be like a horror, creepy, weird movie. It's just going to be weird. It's really hard for me to even explain like how, like what subgenre the movie would even fall into.
It has Fred Durst in it.
Yes, he is the guy's dad. I didn't realize that until the very end because he looks very weird in the movie.
His main character is Justice Smith and Phoebe Bridgers.
Yeah, that's not the other girl's name. It's something else I can't remember. But just the main character, he was in. He's the sorcerer guy from the D&D movie.
The son from Detective Pikachu. He's also in the Jurassic World.
Yeah, he's in a couple of movies. He's a good actor. I like him.
Oh yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, the girl is also. She was really good in the movie. They filled it with a lot of like 90s people that I didn't pick up on for some reason, but like there are a lot of them in there sprinkled throughout. Yeah, it's a very interesting movie. I think it has some interesting things to say about nostalgia. There's also some other like allegories that you could point to with things that happen in the movie. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting movie. And the last thing, I am continuing to be on let me hoard as many RPGs as I possibly can. And I finally was able to get my hands on one that we had all found out from the YouTube channel Quinn's Quest. Called The Wild Sea.
Hey everybody, Future Jay again. We're going to be making a second cut in this episode because we went a little long on Wild Sea, but it is because it's one of the best RPGs now out and you should buy it. So that's kind of a spoiler for the second part of our upcoming rest stop, which is now going to include both a review of Borderlands and the review of The Wild Sea, or at least first impressions of Wild Sea. So again, check that out coming up in a couple days, or already up on Spotify and YouTube Music and all the other places we're on. We'll get to those later. Back to the past again.
That is me.
One more thing before we get to their normal spiel. There was a Magic the Gathering banning that happened Monday.
Oh,
Dear Lord. Yeah.
Is this Rest Stop 2 Electric Boogaloo?
It's not going to be long. Okay. I say that now. So
To be determined.
Jeweled Lotus, Dockside Extortionist, Mana Crypt, and Nadu got banned. Mana Crypt was a $200 card to $250 card that costs 0, that taps for 2.
2 colorless.
2 colorless.
But at the beginning of your upkeep, you flip a coin, and if you lose the flip, you take
3 damage, but you start with 40, so that's whatever.
Yeah.
Jeweled Lotus, it is a artifact that costs 0 mana that has the ability tap, sacrifice it, add 3 mana of any one color. However, the mana can only be spent to cast your commander.
You could cast a commander on turn 1.
Yes.
Dockside added a treasure token, which can tap for any color mana for every artifact or enchantment your opponents control. So, like around turn 2 or 3, depending on how explosive their turns were, you could go infinite on turn 3 or 4 because you could just loop that guy.
Okay.
And
Nadu doesn't matter.
Nadu was just a nuisance in other
they
formats.
banned Nadu because it could like have an effect of just a lot of loops but no win condition. But yeah, a lot of people are mad because Mana Crypt was $250 card. Dockside was like around $100.
Jeweled Lotus
was also around $100. And so now all those cards are paperweights.
Yep. Especially Jeweled Lotus.
Jeweled Lotus
100% Jeweled Lotus.
Jeweled Lotus has no functionality.
It is banned in the format it was created
right.
for.
Yeah.
It is now a
Solely
token.
created for.
It's a token now.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% upset with it. I understand the reasoning why. For anybody who doesn't play Magic, there is actually a competitive form of Commander/EDH called CEDH, and a lot of people are up in arms. But the thing is like bans just push the creative space of like if you want to try and win on turn 3, there's still ways you can do it.
It's just you're gonna have to work harder for it.
I don't think you have to work harder for it. You just have to have a different kind of builds for it to work, because you still have rituals and in both black and mostly red that you can use. You still have Simeon and Elvish Spirit Guide.
Yeah.
Which you can still cast your commander on turn 1 if you want to. Most people are just mainly complaining about the fact that they banned 3 out of the 4 cards were like in the 100 plus range, and they had just reprinted those cards last year.
Yeah.
Some of them. So that's
All of them last
That's
year.
not the first time they've done something that nefarious.
That's really the shitty thing because like I saw somebody say, and I think that this is probably like you shouldn't think of Magic as an investment opportunity. If you think about it like that, then you're just going to get really pissed off when things like this happen.
The thing that like people don't understand that got really mad about it is that the commander committee, that the rules committee for that is different, separate from Wizards of the Coast.
Oh, okay.
And so it's not like Wizards came out and said, okay, ban these cards after we just printed them.
This is
separate entity altogether for the health of the game itself.
Okay.
And the thing about quote unquote competitive EDH is that something that came out of EDH many years and / Commander many years after it was a format. Because what the format did was basically take kitchen table Magic and make it into an actual format. And so you have people that want to play that more competitively than others. And with the ability to have access to over 25,000 cards, you can do so if you want to. But I mean, people will cry. It'll be okay. I was kind of okay with it because I opened my Dockside out of the Commander deck it came out in for $30, and I wasn't out any money. I didn't own a Mana Crypt at the time that the banning happened, nor did I own a Jeweled Lotus, so it didn't really affect me financially. The only thing it really did affect was like a card in one of my decks, and that's fine, But that's my feedback. Hey, Jay, where can they reach us for feedback?
For a counterpoint to all of this,
sure.
Check out Alpha Investments' latest video.
Oh, yeah. I watched that today.
He called this the death of Magic the Gathering. And I'm just going to leave it at that.
A lot of people are calling it.
I'm just going to leave. Yeah, again, but like
that is quite alarmist.
that is 0 to 100 in no seconds. Just the way it is.
It might be the end of people like wailing on it. I'll tell you that because
I think it'll be a hiccup, and they'll eventually find cards that are now the thing, and they're going to start collecting those. And
Mana Vault was at
investments.
$75. It costs 1 mana. It taps for 3, but it doesn't untap during your untap step unless you pay 3 or 4 mana into it. You can only do that during your upkeep. Otherwise, it deals you 1 damage. That card was $75. How much do you think it is now since the bannings of all those other mana rocks?
150.
About $150 to $200. So it's the money's already found the way.
Yeah, it's a speed bump, and then we'll just pick a new road.
Well, it's a speed bump for singles. It's not a speed bump for the sealed product because it's
it never is.
Yeah,
like unless
40
those were
million
active,
player base.
Yeah.
Like it's not going to affect the game.
Those aren't cards being actively sold right now through
Right.
packs.
Right.
That's the singles market.
Well, yeah, I know, but the secondary market, quote unquote, doesn't matter to Wizards of the Coast, even though it matters because LGS is sell singles.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
where can they reach us, Jay?
Well, first of all, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on the bus tonight. If you would like to leave feedback on this or any of our previous episodes, travelers on the omnibus at gmail.com. Again, that is travelers, 1L on the omnibus at gmail.com. Back to you, Jody. Where else can they interact with us?
Spotify.
Yes, take part with the comment section in any of our episodes and on our polls. Last poll for last episode was what do you think is a sequel that didn't really rise to the original but still okay? We had Ghostbusters 2, Gremlins 2. We also have an other, and please post in the comments if you saw that, or if you saw that video. We want to get you into MK Ultra because you clearly can watch radio waves, which means you're psychics. Professor X, I'm calling you out.
All right.
Also, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to share this wonderful episode or any of our episodes with friends, but you don't listen to podcasts where they listen to podcasts too, we're available on Amazon, Apple, Spotify, YouTube Music through our channel, our YouTube channel, Travelers on the Omnibus, and iHeartRadio.
Well, with that being said, it's alive! As we are rolling into spooky season, we've decided for each of us to pick a film to review. My film was Bride of Re-Animator.
Your film was Re-Animator and said, nope, Bride of Re-Animator. I want to stress that immediately at the start of this.
Sequel.
This is true. You also made the claim that you don't really have to watch Re-Animator to watch Bride of Re-Animator, and you're only partially true.
They did make quite a few references
Yeah.
right at the very beginning.
Yeah, and kind of all through.
Kind of all through the
At
movie.
25 seconds, floating head, and we're off.
West.
Yeah, explaining that opening shot to somebody who has not watched Re-Animator would be an interesting feat.
So the title states that this is H.P. Lovecraft's Bride of Re-Animator.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which is
and
not
H.P. Lovecraft never wrote Bride of Re-Animator.
right. H.P. Lovecraft wrote Herbert West Re-Animator. Also, unbeknownst to me, before I watched this again for the probably third time in my life, I did not know this, but Jeffrey Combs, who plays Herbert West in this movie,
Yes.
and in original Re-Animator and in Beyond Re-Animator, did a audio book.
What the fuck?
I didn't know this because I haven't read all of H.P. Lovecraft. Herbert West actually shows up in 6 H.P. Lovecraft stories.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And he read all of them.
Huh. Okay.
Him, Abdul Al-Hazred is another recurring character in AD. He's actually the first person to translate. It's not Liber de Ghouls. It's the Necronomicon. Yeah, he's the that's the translation of the Necronomicon everyone always reads.
So yes, Bride of Re-Animator opens almost in the same insane way that Re-Animator opens in.
Yeah, they're very similar movies.
it immediately opens with a scenic shot, and then at the bottom, 8 months later and 20,000 miles away.
Yeah.
From Miskatonic, you at Arkham.
Yeah, we're in
From the
Peru-
Miskatonic massacre.
massacre
Yeah.
that happened
Yeah.
8 months prior.
Immediately, it's like, what the fuck is going on? What is that?
That's what I was really wanting for. Is like Ethan did not know what the fuck was going on.
I knew shit.
This was all just a plan to make him completely in the dark. Okay.
Yeah, good
How many
plan.
references did I miss?
All
Probably all of
All
them.
of them.
I know why you missed the references.
I've discovered the power of the breeding tent. No, wrong one. Bianca found the mating tent.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
That makes
Yeah,
more sense. Yeah.
there's a lot of weird shit that happens in this movie.
Oh,
That,
really?
You don't say.
that
You don't
happens.
We
say
start with
that a
a
movie
Civil
starring
War.
Jeffrey Combs.
Yeah, right. He's
Yeah.
been in a few.
Jeffrey Combs, a.k.a., as I like to call him, the draw of the movie and the previous movie.
Jeffrey Combs was in the live-action Guyver movie.
Oh, Jesus.
Where he played, because it was made by the same company, right?
Oh, okay.
He played Dr. East.
Yeah.
In that
Not kidding.
movie.
Not kidding.
Fucking hell. Jesus Christ.
We start with a civil war in Peru.
Yeah.
There is a civil war in Peru where Dr. West, if you want to call him Dr. West,
West and Dan.
and
Yeah.
Dan, Dr. Dan.
Yeah.
Dan Kane, not to be confused with Dean Kane.
And a woman of ambiguous accent.
Yes. Which I've seen her in something else, but I think it was it Wings? Was she in the TV show Wings?
Dude, you know how long it's been since I fucking watched
Hang
Wings?
on.
Her name is Fabiana Udenio. I'm pretty sure. Born in Argentina to Italian parents.
Okay.
Put
Whoa.
that shit together
Oh,
on your own
shit.
fucking time,
Oh,
Brady. On your
shit.
own fucking
No, I
time.
put together right now. We have solved the puzzle. Oh,
You're right.
She grew up in Rome.
Oh, okay.
what the fuck?
You have seen her as the memorable character, a lot of vagina, in Austin Powers' International Man of Mystery.
Jesus
She
Christ.
was in that for sure, but I
This is
remember
what-
her in something else.
This is why I did notes, because I too felt like I remembered her from someplace.
Yeah.
And I remembered what.
I didn't. I was like, where the fuck is she from? Until she was like, I'm going to do a cook for you Italian style. I was like, well, I guess she's from Italy. I still can't fucking tell.
She was also in a Mortal Kombat TV series, Conquest.
Yeah.
Oh.
That was the one with Kristana Loken.
Yeah, that was the one where like someone had sex like off screen like every single episode, if I'm not mistaken.
That seems about
She
right.
played Empress Kriya.
Wow. Yeah, let's just add extra people to Mortal Kombat lore. That's what we need.
So they're basically field medics, these guys.
Yes.
They're aiding in the Civil War.
They're trying to.
58-second note. Slaughter. We're not holding back. No. You
Yeah,
want
they start by like pulling out the largest piece of shrapnel from somebody's chest.
and then they immediately lose them to cardiac arrest.
Dan's like, I don't think he's gonna make it. Wes is like, it's gonna be okay.
We have to take this out or he's going to die.
Yeah.
And then they take it out and he dies.
Yeah,
Circulatory system is still intact.
and you'll learn throughout the rest of this movie, and if you haven't seen the first one, that Herbert West's line is, "We could still use him.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
We can still use him. He's still
I'm pretty sure that's the family motto.
pretty
Yeah,
much
Herbert is the maddest of mad scientists. With no predilections to any, like he has no morals when it comes to that.
He walks away from the body and like digs in a drawer and pulls out this large syringe of just like glowing neon green.
That's
liquid.
the reanimation
That's the
fluid.
reanimator stuff, man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That is the titular reanimator.
Yeah. He reanimated.
Yeah, he did reanimator.
So while they're messing around with corpses for a few minutes, she walks in. She's like, "We need to leave."
Yeah, we gotta go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they're breaking through the front.
Dan's trying to say like, we
yeah,
need
we
to go.
need to go.
Wes
And
is
Herbert's like, no.
He's like, wait, this iguana.
Yeah.
Wait, iguanas.
I found the key.
Except so Herbert West shoots one of the dead bodies with the reanimator juice,
Right.
and it's up, and he's fighting with it, and
Right.
then
In
when
the
they say,
background.
In the
"Wait,
background,
we gotta go."
and she
And the
walks
chick's
in.
like, what? And then she
she sees him
He
shooting.
just takes out a gun, and just blows his fucking brains out.
She's like, what the fuck is going on?
What are
in
you
here?"
guys doing in here?
My note there was Jeffrey Combs does not give a fuck about your zombie ass.
We're in Peru for.
He brandishes the gun at her. Also,
Yeah,
it's
and
like,
he's like, oh,
what do
yeah.
you mean? No.
Yeah.
We're staying here.
Dan's like,
we
"What the fuck
can't
you doing?"
leave, and then more explosions happen, and they go, we need to go back to
Well,
Arkham.
like people start like coming in and attacking. You
we
like,
need to go back. They're in Peru for 5 minutes. We got to go back to
We need
Arkham.
to leave Peru.
which if you have watched the original one, you're like, how the fuck did they go back to Arkham and just
After 8 months.
and just become doctors again?
So what I think happened here was, so they were filming Born on the 4th of July. and there was one sound stage that had like the triage unit, and instead we need a fucking opening for this movie. Okay, let's sneak onto the stage, and we'll do the scene there. So whenever they say Peru, they mean sound stage, and then and then it's like them leaving was them actually having to leave, but then improvising them actually having to leave. That's how I feel that happened.
There's a lot of at the very beginning throughout this whole movie. There's what seems to be a lot of let's do this. It would be cool.
Yeah. Well, that's Herbert West's motto. Let's do this. It'll be cool.
Right.
Like
His
they just get their job. They get their jobs back.
yeah.
Did they? Well, they
This
had
is 8 months. 8 months after the Arkham.
Massacre.
The Miskatonic massacre.
Right.
The massacre.
Right.
And they just come back and they get their fucking jobs back. I'm like, what the fuck? This is in the exact same place. They didn't go to another hospital in the same city. They just went to the same fucking place and just got there after being in Peru for 8 fucking months.
I feel like I need to watch the
That's
first
the
one.
benefits of tenure.
Sure.
It's just like boom.
You see what he
Job
just
security.
you see what he just said there?
Yeah.
I feel like I need to watch the first one so I can see like
That's
what-
why I picked
what the
this
fuck-
one.
What the fuck happened?
Because he's gotta know what happened in
I
the
need
first
to know
movie.
the origins.
I'll tell you what happened. A better movie.
I disagree.
So we get back to Arkham, and Dr. Dan,
Dr. Dan is dealing with a terminally ill patient.
right, who he's slightly it seems like he's slightly obsessed over.
Yeah.
He's built some type of relationship.
Some sort
Yes.
of Florence Nightingale situation happening there.
Well, also she reminds him of his
Ex,
fiance.
his ex. We won't, well, I mean, he mentions,
Yeah. And Herbert is immediately like, "Hey, she's gonna die soon. We could use her."
yeah. That's his modus operandi.
Yeah. And Dan. So both movies are basically Dan going, "No, we can't do this. This is terrible," and Herbert going,
But why not?
"Come on," and him going, "Okay."
Yeah. Yeah. You're
Like,
not wrong.
That
Hear
is
me out, man.
every single time.
It is.
In both movies. Like, it's just him going, "We shouldn't do this. This is absolutely wrong." And then Herbert West going, "But."
Yeah. Dan's also played by Budget Bill Pullman.
Yes.
100%. Jay, what happens next? I know you have it written down there. Does the cop show? When does the cop
my
show?
next note. This was just something. At 10:57, we go to the crematory inside the hospital. And I say crematories are always dirty in movies.
Yeah.
I've been to a crematory. They keep that shit for the most part spotless.
Yeah.
But anytime you have a movie crematory, it's always just like it's connected to a sewer somehow.
Yeah.
It's just gross and bad and weird and wrong. So that was something I noticed in there. 1427, our hero villain or villain hero, however you want to put Herbert West, uses the line plagiarist, which is, as you know, is the kill line.
Oh yeah.
From Re-Animator.
So before this, the guy who works in the morgue area,
Dr. Graves. I want to say
this detective comes in and starts
Yeah,
asking
the
him questions
detective.
and pulls out a head.
Yeah.
For to find out where this head came from, you need to watch the original movie.
So he first says like, "I'm here to investigate the massacre that occurred 8 months ago."
Yeah.
Dr. Graves goes, "Oh, I thought that was closed." The detective goes, "Closed for some." Like,
Yeah, you find out there's a reason why he's looking into things.
This-
And he shows him the head, and then he finds out that that body parts have been missing because they're going to cremate this ballerina who cut off her feet because she couldn't handle it and killed herself, and her feet went missing. And the detective's like, "Where are her feet at?" And the guy just goes, "Missing." And I'm like,
More on that later.
"What?
Yeah.
What?"
Yeah.
Like,
he goes like, "Who would want to steal
Yeah.
feet?"
These
and
are-
then cut to West.
Yeah.
These are Chekhov's feet.
I do
Yeah.
want to say we meet like a greaser orderly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who is he is from a 1950s Rebel Without a Cause movie.
Oh yeah.
And he's not in he just walked onto the set. Like
Yeah.
he's not.
Yeah.
He
he's
likes
not-
eating sandwiches on top of corpses.
Yeah.
The detective is Lieutenant Chapman.
Yeah.
Chapman.
I only need Herbert West. That's the only.
Yeah.
That's the only name I need to remember.
I think he's just there just to deliver the head, and then they figured out some sort of side plot for this guy.
Yeah. Definitely.
Well, hold on. You mentioned that. Let's talk about this for a second. So the original was directed by Stuart I. Gordon. This one was directed by Brian Yuzna. Brian Yuzna was the producer on the first film.
Oh, okay.
So he takes on triple duties here as producer, director, and as part of the adapted screenplay crew from Woody Keith and Rick Fry, who also created the original screenplay for it. So Yuzna's kind of all over this.
Okay,
Right, for
okay,
sure.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So West is kind of like perusing in the morgue area, and he goes into this area where they keep like the spare body parts.
Yeah. They just have body
There's
parts
a
on
closet
shelves.
of body parts.
He's window shopping.
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
now.
It's just like you and I go looking at stuff in Target. He goes looking for body parts, which apparently this morgue has.
And during this time, he finds the heart belonging to Dr. Dan's ex-fiancée,
Megan,
who is
yeah.
Megan.
Megan's heart.
Yeah.
So he's like, ooh. And then just bags it and then
Yeah.
pockets it.
Also, comes across the head of Dr.
Dr. Hill.
Dr.
Hill.
Hill.
Yeah.
That's where plagiarist comes
And
in.
he has
Yeah.
he has that little monologue, well, look at you, Dr. Hill.
And then makes like some weird beheading puns and
Yeah.
such before he walks off.
Oh, we
Well,
also
but
find.
before he walks off, there's a breath.
Yeah.
He doesn't know where it's coming
Yeah.
from,
Yeah.
but we do.
And you also find out that the doctor in the morgue was able to recover some of the reanimator juice. And for some reason, nobody has done anything with this for 8 months.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to call it ecto-coolest.
But,
Yeah.
You mentioned this because like Graves and Chapman finds it in this like body closet. And he's like, "What is this?" He's like, "I don't know. I'm going to perform experiments in the morning." What did he do for the past 8 months?
Yeah, yeah.
He just kept it. Did he forget about it or?
Yeah, I think the people who wrote the little title that said 8 months after the massacre also didn't talk to the people who did the rest of the movie.
Also-
Right.
I'm pretty sure the first and second time I saw the first 20 minutes, I'm pretty sure it said 10 months later instead of 8.
It's changing on you, Jesus.
I'm like 90% sure I saw 10 months later.
This is an
Mandela.
his experience with this movie is actually a Lovecraft story.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. Beyond his comprehension, this movie is. What is it? Oh yeah, we
If
get
you'd watched it on VHS, we could call it Eldritch.
So
they go back to their home. Dan and Herbert live together.
1605. House reminds me of the Evil Dead cabin.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. It's next to a cemetery.
that also has its own morgue.
My next
and
note, of
crematory.
course, they're neighboring a crypt.
Yeah.
Yeah. West even makes a joke about it.
Yeah, he knocked a hole in the wall in the basement to
Like,
crawl through the
Check
crypt.
it out. We're right next to this crypt.
Yeah.
For parts.
Yeah.
For body parts.
And
More on that later.
now West is not just like people die and then he reanimates them. Now he's like putting body parts together.
Yeah, he's
And
been obsessed with.
Yeah. Throughout the first movie, like this shit never works. Like he never ever it never ever works like he wants it to. But he keeps fucking doing zero changes and just let's inject them harder and
Yeah.
maybe it'll work this time.
He comes up with some cool concepts, like in the first movie, he's like, maybe the fresher the corpse,
Yeah.
the better the reaction we get.
He does something. He basically makes his own like chloroform.
Yeah.
Like a thing, and he like. The iguana from the beginning.
Yeah.
He pulls it out and like takes out this cloth and this chloroform mixture, puts it up against the iguana's nose, and is like dead in like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
He's like stops the heart as if it was natural causes.
Yeah. That's not terrifying, but
Yeah.
but then he like sews together some fingers, an eyeball, and a thumb.
2135, cool homunculus.
Yeah, and he creates a little homunculus.
He makes his own he does a spin on the reanimation stuff with amniotic fluid from an iguana.
Yeah, he makes more of it.
Sure.
Yeah, amniotic fluid. That's
That's the key to everything.
what the fuck.
Like off screen, he's been working on his own reanimator fluid for like 8 months.
Yeah.
If you are going to H.P. Lovecraft's Bride of Re-Animator for scientific knowledge,
Yeah, this is true.
don't.
The thing, like they turn around and then the thing gets lost. They lose the thing. Which
at
Jeffrey
that time-
Combs' look when he's like looking around real quick is just so fucking funny.
It's hilarious.
Then
Then the cop shows up.
the cop shows up and
Chapman.
just illegally enters the home.
Oh, I was screaming. It's like, where's your fucking probable cause? What the
Yeah, I was
fuck?
like,
your
do
warrant?
you have a warrant?
Yeah.
You never let them inside. You step outside and you close the door behind you.
2429, cop summoning, another of Herbert West's anti-powers.
And he's just like walking around and they're just letting him walk around.
He's questioning them about the massacre that
Yeah.
happened, while all of them are looking at the homunculus that's like
Yeah, the homunculus is like
crawling on the couch that he's sitting on.
Like Wes comes up from the basement. He's like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Yeah.
And they're like the cop sits down on the chair, and then the homunculus is like under the chair, and then it's behind him, and then Dan has to go over and like shoo it off, and then shoo it over.
It lands right beside him, and the Chapman just gets pissed off about something and like slams some papers down.
Yeah, he had a
on the
book. He
homunculus.
had like an anatomy book in his hand. 'Cause he was like, "Oh, y'all are doing weird, freaky shit, huh?" And he's like, they keep stonewalling him, which I mean, that's what you do.
Just
Does he
researching
mention?
body parts.
Does he mention his wife during that conversation?
No,
I don't think he
Not
gets,
till later.
I don't think
so.
the wife gets mentioned until
Okay.
he does the
second
weird
part.
shit with Francesca. But yeah, he slams it down on the little homunculus, and the
Squat.
the poor little homunculus is all smushed.
The eye pops.
And they're like, "Oh shit, the cops are on to us." Dan's like, "We need to not do this." And
Wes
then
is
Wes
like,
is
Herbert
like,
West
"But
is,
wait."
how about no?
"How about no?"
How about we bring back your dead ex?
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah,
From
'cause
just her heart.
Yeah, because I stole her heart.
I have
stole her
her heart in
heart.
the refrigerator.
And then I have all of these other body parts, and let's put them together.
We
and
can
build-
remake her better.
Yeah. And Dan's like,
we can start with the
"Oh, that sounds like
ballerina
a good
feet."
idea.
We'll start with these ballerina feet I took.
Yeah, he took the ballerina feet. We'll learn the
yeah,
The anatomy at a
let's,
later
let's
time.
save that
Yeah,
for about
yeah.
5 to 10 minutes from now when we're. Oh man,
Jesus Christ.
This movie starts out being batshit crazy, gets even more batshit crazier, but it also takes a turn into Bride of Frankenstein.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Really
you don't
quickly.
name it Bride of Re-Animator without doing that.
Right.
So now we go back to the hospital.
They're at the hospital. They're getting a dead body.
Dan,
Right. Yeah.
Well, before that, we go back to the other doctor, the other doctor. and the
Oh
morgue
yeah,
doctor.
yeah.
And
The morgue doctor.
he's injected, and the thing is moving around, and it scratches him.
He injects a bat.
Yeah.
He discovered what the fluid does and tests it on a bat that he has like pin cushion
And
on.
I'll-
it.
I will-
That he has pinned down and has opened it up.
This is where I started. This is where the movie started losing me, because he then also starts cutting the wings off of the
Well,
bat.
the bat jumps up
Yeah.
and
It
freaks
attacks
out
him.
and attacks him, and then
Yeah.
he slams it down and then cuts
Then he
off
cuts
its
off-
wings.
Yeah.
So now it's just this like torso
Doesn't
and
kill
head.
it. It's just
Yeah.
the wings are there.
Yeah.
yeah.
It reminds me of the scene early in when the zombies start coming back to life in Return of the Living Dead. When they're in they're in that really weird place that sells like different body parts and stuff like that, and the half dogs are coming back to life and shit like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they hack a zombie up and all the body parts are still moving.
And then he goes, "Well, it works so well on this bat. I have this human head here.
let me
Why
try
don't
it
we
on
just
the
try
head.
that?
Yeah.
Dr. Hill.
Dr. Hill comes back into life and
goes,
is
He's give me more reanimator
Yeah.
fluid, basically.
And then
And he's a
just
raging-
like Ryback.
Yeah.
he's a raging douchebag after this.
Oh yeah.
He was a
nincompoop.
he was a raging douchebag before that.
Oh yeah,
It was
all
great.
the way through.
It was
Yeah.
great too because he's like, Dr. Graves, I remember your seminar on something. It was stupid.
yeah. You fucking moron.
imbecile.
And what's Graves gonna do? Hill's dead.
And Grace is just like,
what you need to do.
what the fuck? Yeah, he immediately like orders him around and shit, and he's like, I'm not doing that shit.
Graves, his underling, his whatever the sleazebag.
Yeah, the sleazebag greaser guy.
Yeah, he brings him into the office. He's like, "Look, the head, it talks."
Yeah, and then of course he doesn't do anything.
No.
They never do the tricks when you tell them to.
Yeah.
Sleazebag says like, "You're crazy," and Graves goes, "You don't think I'm crazy? You just don't know."
Yeah.
That is Ethan doing an impersonation of David Gale, a fine character actor who got roped into 2 of these Reanimator
And then
movies.
Hill's like, don't ever do that again, you fucking moron.
So what does Graves do? He wraps him in a blanket and puts him in the trash.
I think that's a little bit later after he gets drunk, because of course you bring a head to life. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get drunk. That's the most
that might
relatable
happen
thing.
later.
That's the most relatable thing in this movie.
Yep.
Yeah, and then they're stealing a dead body.
Yes, they're like wheeling it out.
They're stealing a dead body,
Jesus
Weekend
Christ.
at Bernie's style.
Yeah, they put sunglasses on this lady
And a
put her-
blanket.
and a blanket and put her in a wheelchair.
They just wheel her out.
And
the
West
front
is
door.
just like holding her head up by her hair. Just like, what the fuck?
And you hear like the neck snapping as it's moving around.
34 minutes, 50 seconds in. Again, Herbert West gives no fucks.
Yeah. Dan is like, this is a bad idea. And Herbert West is like, no, it's not. Keep going.
It's brilliant.
I am the smartest man alive.
This movie came out a year after Weekend at Bernie's,
Yeah.
so they definitely stole
Oh,
that
definitely.
gag.
They go outside, and this dog kind of like runs into them.
Yeah.
and
And knocks the dead lady's glasses off. And everybody just kind of looks, but no, and stares, and nobody does
Well, there's one woman that
anything.
goes,
Yeah. And
Wes-
it's like, what the fuck? Like, nobody, and he just like puts the glasses on and like holds her head back up. And it's like, what the fuck?
He
She's just sleeping.
He has the body in like a chokehold as it's like separates.
And we find out that the dog is Francesca's.
She's visiting from Peru.
Yeah, she's visiting
somehow
from
she knew where to go.
Coincidentally,
whatever
in that-
nondescript.
Somehow she survived. Can we talk that she survived a frontline assault from Peruvian rebels?
Yeah, I mean somehow they all.
Or the governmental force. We don't know what side
Yeah,
they were on.
we do
That's
not
true.
know.
We
Yeah.
don't.
Also, of all places, she decides to visit Arkham.
Yeah,
She wants to
Coincidentally.
make dance spaghetti. Come on.
yeah, Italian style.
Is that racist? I'm not sure.
that is as nondescript as her accent
That's
is.
fair. That's fair.
So yeah, Dan invites her over for dinner that night.
Yeah,
She
which
just shows
seems
up.
like a great idea.
Wes doesn't think so.
No, which
I
is
don't-
it's a bad. This is the bad idea. It's a bad fucking idea.
So, cuts to their house later in the day. No. I'm fast forwarding myself. Francesca goes inside, and this is when Chapman meets Francesca.
Yeah,
and
and
'cause
he
sees
accosts her.
Yeah, he sees her
Yeah,
interacting with
it's a
Dan
little
and
weird.
West.
These
A little
movies,
weird.
These
What?
movies are not great to women.
That's
Let's just
true.
Say that.
That is very true. That's why I picked the second one over the
Yeah,
first one.
and there's still some.
yeah,
but
I have to agree.
And he takes her to the psych ward where like 4 or 5 of the people who
Three.
were reanimated
Exactly 3.
in the last movie are still there
They're just
for some reason.
in a padded room,
Yeah.
and he says like, "That one's my wife.
Yeah.
Look what they did to her."
So we find out that he's doing this for revenge. He's not fucking like investigating these people.
I don't even think he's on the force anymore.
It's quite possible.
Possible.
Especially with what we find out later.
Keep going, guys.
Yeah.
we got an hour of this movie left. Got
for some godforsaken reason, because he wasn't a part of this, they allow Chapman and Francesca in the padded room to interact with the
that was so
the zombies.
Fucking weird.
Yeah, what does the wife do? Attack Francesca.
Well, because
zombie.
Well, we find. I think it's pretty clear with what happens later. She wasn't attacking Francesca,
right,
as much as trying to get her away from her husband. Then West and Dan, they're starting to work on the Frankenstein.
Yeah, they're working on the bride.
The bride.
And this is when Francesca arrives.
Yeah, and for some reason they forgot. Like Dan forgot, so he's like covered in blood and shit.
It's on his shoes, and he's like trying to hide it.
Oh yeah, he cleans up, except for he forgets that he has blood all over his white tennis shoes.
She also brought her dog with her.
The dog goes everywhere.
So it goes to
Full Metal Alchemist.
It goes to West, who's downstairs working on the body, and then it goes back to Francesca and Dan in the kitchen making spaghetti.
Yeah,
and
full Herbert Alka West.
Which, if I walked into this home, I'm not cooking in this home.
No.
And I am not eating anything that was cooked in this home.
To be fair, this is the second worst place she's been with him in this movie.
Yeah, this is
I would
true.
prefer this house. For all we're going to shit on in this house, and there's a lot to shit on.
Yeah.
I would prefer that than active battle lines in the Andes Mountains.
I would probably still prefer to eat spaghetti in that surgery tent.
Well, no, that's the thing. They don't eat the spaghetti.
They never eat the spaghetti.
They're in the middle of cooking, and Francesca's like, "Hey, Dan, try this sauce," and Dan's like, "This is good. Hey, by the way, let's make out," and then immediately
they just start
forget
fucking
the food and just go straight to fucking.
Yeah,
I've
they
discovered
get to
the
fucking.
power of the breeding pen. That's what they did.
Yeah, we got to get the obligatory titties in this movie.
No, live titties.
Live titties. Yeah.
46 minutes and 3 seconds in. As all movie adaptations of Italian romance. First pasta, then sex.
Yeah.
Dan goes, "You're so soft." And he says it multiple times.
Which made me very uncomfortable.
Yes.
I don't know what's going on.
You're so soft.
Yeah, Dan has issues.
Everyone has issues.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but particularly Dan.
Dan and West both have severe issues.
Yes. Yeah.
Herbert West has one issue.
Right.
He can't unfocus.
Right.
Anything that's not in front of him is just getting in the way.
He's basically has the mindset of Doctor Doom, except he's not as good at doing what he does as Doctor Doom is. Like he's just bad at this, really.
I'm skipping forward just a little bit because since we're on this part right now, this is James McCarthy's unprofessional psychological diagnoses. Dan suffers from at least 4 different disorders. We have PTSD, dissociative disorder, full-blown depression, and codependency.
This is true,
man, he's extremely
and he
codependent.
switches his codependence real quick.
Yeah.
On the turn of a dime.
Yeah. Francesca wakes up after the sex and goes downstairs.
You can tell they've had sex because she's wearing his university T-shirt.
Yeah.
Jumping ahead a little bit. While they're fucking.
Oh, okay. Oh,
What?
yeah.
Oh yeah. So for our second warrantless search of the night,
Wes comes upstairs because he hears a ringing at the doorbell. Opens the door. Who is it? Chapman, who just barges in.
Yeah, he just barges in and then just starts attacking West after forcing him to go down to the basement. West is a pansy, so he never fights back.
He gets in front of Chapman. He's like, "You're not going down there." Chapman says, "Get out!" and just throws him.
Yeah. They find the mad scientist laboratory, and then Chapman loses his shit and starts
like,
fighting.
"You killed my wife!" and he goes straight for murdering.
And then we
West.
find out the twist.
Yeah.
West is like, I know why she died. She had multiple contusions.
Severe trauma to the head.
Severe trauma to the head. She fell.
Sure she did, Chapman.
Sure she did.
And then as like Chapman's like strangling him, guess what West reaches for? The same chloroform
Yep.
he uses on the lizard, on the iguana.
Foreshadowing is a literary device.
device. Yeah.
Kills Chapman instantly.
Yeah.
This is when
Chekhov's ether.
That is actually like the actual invention of this movie. It's not the Re-Animator juice, which never works like it's supposed to. It's that shit that instantly kills somebody and gives them a heart attack.
that makes it look like natural disaster.
That looks like they just naturally
An earthquake ripped them apart.
Yeah.
natural causes.
He immediately injects Chapman with the Re-Animator fluid.
Yeah.
Dan hears all
Dan
this.
hears
going
all
on,
this and then
goes
comes
downstairs
down.
and says, "What are you doing? That's a cop."
And he goes, he had a heart attack. It's not my fault.
What little I loved of this movie is all Jeffrey Combs.
Yeah.
Like, it
yeah.
just is.
He makes, if anybody else was in these movies, these would be
I have
the worst.
I have a little bit of a Jeffrey Combs thing for the end of this. Well,
Sure.
I'll shorten it and get it out here right now. Jeffrey Combs is one of the most prevalent and most important side actors in all of Star Trek history. He played Brunt, which was a nemesis to Quark on Deep Space Nine. His bigger role on Deep Space Nine was Wei-Yun, the Vorta, who was basically the second in command to the Changelings. And then in Star Trek Enterprise, and what I think was his best performance in Star Trek, he played the Andorian Shran, which reintroduced Andorians to the greater Star Trek lore on television. Jeffrey Combs is a fantastic actor. I put him alongside, not as high up for me, but I put him alongside Tony Todd. Anytime I see him in something, I'm drawn to what he's going to be doing in that movie.
Yeah, he's definitely.
all the
I love
laurels I
Jeffrey
can.
Combs.
for
Yeah,
Jeffrey
you know
Combs.
he's gonna.
Jeffrey
You know he's
Combs.
gonna give it his all.
So, God, Chapman dies. Danny finds out. West goes, Dan, this is our chance to test our experiment. We might
It's
as well,
fresh.
It's fresh. We want to test it on this person we don't care about before we test it on Meg.
When he says that, the Re-Animator music sting. That was a nice little audio clip. I'm
Right.
like, okay, that's very nice about that.
So it goes like every Re-Animator injection ever goes, very badly.
Yeah.
Chapman wakes up and immediately goes for murder.
Yeah, he starts attacking them.
Line from Herbert West, aka Jeffrey Combs. He's a wife beater, Dan. Use the gun.
Best fucking line in the movie. I laughed my ass off. I forgot that this line happened, but this is the best fucking line.
It's the almost near deadpan delivery from Combs.
Yeah.
He's a wife beater, Dan. Use the gun.
And just the twisted fucking morality of all the shit that's going on in that minute.
Francesca comes down while they're being attacked, and
They're downstairs, and it gets to the point where Dan cuts off Chapman's hand.
yeah, because he like was about to turn the gun on Dan.
Yeah. And so he flees and goes upstairs.
Yeah. And he kills the dog.
He grabs the dog's arm and rips it out of its socket.
Yeah.
flings it into the chimney. Francesca is like yelling at
yeah, she's freaking
shock.
the fuck out, which of course, that's what you do.
I'm gonna say this right now. Even if it wasn't my pet, if I'm just there
Yeah.
and
Somebody
someone
rips a dog's arm off.
a dog's arm off,
Yeah.
catatonia is the next thing.
Yeah, this
So-
is true.
Yeah. So Chapman flees.
I actually wonder, was that written in the script, or did actress Fabiana Udenyo just fucking disassociate? Just
be.
completely like, what the fuck?
Chapman runs away, but we find out that really all he does is just run through the cemetery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Like he never leaves the fucking cemetery.
so it gets to Dan is consoling Francesca, who's crying in the living room.
Yeah.
And Wes takes the dog downstairs.
Yeah, she's like, what the fuck is up with you people? And he just like comes and picks up the dog while looking at them and like takes it down.
56 minutes, 27 seconds. Herbert West just can't stop.
No.
5707. I don't even know what this is connected to. Seriously, cannot stop. Like he keeps doing more shit. No, he combined the arm.
Yeah.
He took the chopped off arm of a man.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he put it on a dog.
Yeah.
They're both on the table. He looks at both of them and goes, I have an idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to tell me, Edward. No. That's not the worst fucking dog combo ever in
He
fucking
also
fiction.
Before this,
he also like sewed two arms together.
No, it wasn't two arms. It was a leg and an
A
arm.
leg and an arm.
Uh-huh.
And the arm attacked him.
And the arm attacks him, so he throws it into the hole where that's in the crypt and then covers that back up.
Uh-huh.
And surely that won't be a problem later.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing is a literary device.
Yes,
So at
it's
this point,
right.
Our thanks, real quick. I think at this point we need to say this. Our thanks to H Bomber Guy for that wonderful clip from his videos because
Yes.
he could sue us.
Yeah,
now. I'm just saying he's real
well,
bad
he
on
could
play.
he could make like an 8-hour video about us.
Oh
and we
my
don't want
God,
that
we
to
would
happen.
get 2 viewers. No, it'd be great.
Francesco wakes up from the living room and goes downstairs, goes to open the door, but Wes meets her and says, "What are you doing down
Yeah.
here?" And then she looks down and, her dog that
Oh
was
shit,
dead
the dog's
is alive.
and then it reaches out to her with an arm, a human
Tries
arm.
to shake her hand.
Dan comes down there, Francesco yells, "You're sick bastards!" and just
Yeah, she runs off. and she
Meanwhile, at
loses
the
her shit.
hospital, Dr. Hill and Dr. Graves.
Wes says one of the funniest lines is like, "Man, she's a lot to handle."
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's hysterical.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk about autism real quick. Herbert West. Thank you very
West is
much. Moving on.
definitely on the spectrum.
He is a full spectrum warrior.
Yeah.
I just swear to God. I swear to God.
Yeah, we go back to the morgue, and Hill continues to berate the morgue doctor, who is totally sauced now.
Right.
This is where he covers him up and then just hucks him.
Yeah,
into
but
the
before
trash.
this, we find out that Hill, if you haven't watched the first one, you have no idea why he can do this, but he summons all the other reanimated corpses,
including Chapman.
including Chapman, who is just wandering around the cemetery. And then the morgue doctor just is like wraps him up in a towel and throws him in the garbage bin. And then goes to sleep, I guess. I don't fucking know.
Right.
'Cause he wakes up and he's like not in there, and Chapman's holding the doctor's head. And then they force the morgue doctor to sew bat wings onto
Yeah, the
Onto-
convenient bat wings that he cut
onto
off.
Hill.
I know we want to talk about this, but let's table it momentarily. There is a scene that will
Yeah,
be
you're
better
like,
to bring that
you're
out.
like, well, when will this pay off? Hold on.
Hold that
Yeah.
thought. Yeah. You hold on to that thought. So the cancer patient dies.
Yeah.
Yes.
The cancer
and-
patient, while Dan is there being very inappropriate with her.
Right.
Very,
She starts
inappropriate.
coding, and
Right before she starts coding, he goes, "You know why I like you so much? You remind me of Meg." And then she
immediately
flatlines.
dies. She immediately dies.
He's like, "No,
is
disappointment killed
The
me."
funniest fucking thing. The funniest fucking thing.
so he starts doing like chest compressions on her.
They do chest compressions, and then West comes in there, and then they get a table saw. Because apparently that's what you
They have to
do.
restart her heart from the inside.
Yeah,
we
they
have to massage her heart.
They cut her open, and all the blood.
And blood just spoots.
all the
everywhere.
There's just blood spooting.
If you thought there was a lot of blood in the first Kill Bill, you're wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
They are absolutely covered in blood.
Dan's on the ground,
And
just
Dan's
saying,
like, "No, no,
I can't
no."
do it." Wes comes up with both of his hands bloody. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm calling it.
Yeah,
Dan
Dan's like,
goes,
we're
no.
done.
58 minutes, 57 seconds, the heart attack scene. Is this supposed to be funny, shocking, tragic? Is it the writing? Is it the acting? Is it the direction? This is where the movie lost me. Because I thought
Again?
it lost me. No, it started losing me on the bet. But this is the one where it's like it's too silly to be poignant.
Yes.
Right.
It's too over the top to be funny.
Yeah.
The blood part in because it's not just that blood goes everywhere. Blood goes all over Dan.
Right.
Yeah.
He's the only one who got super soakered by
Yeah,
any
right.
of
This
this
is true.
shit.
Right.
This
It
is true.
Right.
For me, it is the stoic, expressionless face of West, and just the comedic amount of blood that's just
Yeah.
on him as he just shoots straight up.
And then we find out that this hospital has hospital beds that you can just open up and there's like a can almost
Oh,
to
yeah.
put the because the orderly comes to get the body, and of course West is in there.
No, you take the feet.
And
I'll
he's
get
like,
the head.
I'll get the head. And you're like, oh, I know where this is going.
They put
Because
her in.
because they put her in there, and then West grabs a pail. Where was a pail in this hospital that looked exactly like that? That's not a mop bucket.
No.
That's like a pail that the old timey farmers would milk the cows into.
I think
It just has a towel over
With
it.
a towel over it.
I think what you have to consider, like, it's not set out. You have to look for it. Clearly, this hospital uses by the mafia to basically take care of and
That's
like dispose
the only
of bodies.
explanation for things just kind of going back to normal and nobody talking about it, and everything that happened in the last movie getting swept under the rug.
Or in this case, put in a giant supply closet.
or lazy writing. I don't know. And then West is like, yeah, take her straight to the crematorium. The crematorium, that's not where. Yeah, take her there. And the guy's like, oh, okay.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
At this point, we cut to Francesca using a payphone, and she sees Chapman walk out of the morgue area,
Yeah.
and she tries to like not get noticed by him. He walks by her, and then he's like, "I gotcha.
Yeah,
I'm
and
a
then he
police
attacks her.
officer."
Sometimes Chapman is a complete brainless zombie, and sometimes Chapman is lucid, and we don't really ever understand
The
why.
line is very thin and very askewed.
She attacks him.
He takes his nub and
rubs it all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
we
didn't
gotta
like
have-
that either.
We
Yeah.
gotta have that.
yeah.
And then I think we cut back to the house, right?
I believe so.
And this is a very uncomfortable scene, where Dan finds
About 104 to 107, the corpse soliloquy.
where Dan comes down to the basement and he finds out that the woman
Gloria. Her name is Gloria.
West has her head now, and that's what they're going to attach.
And Dan's like, "I can't do this."
And West lovingly and creepily describes where every single body part
right. Came
is from.
Yeah.
And if you do not cringe when he talks about the virgin womb, I don't know what to say, man. You need to go get help.
There's one thing I don't like when it comes to like just any movie, and it's
Continue.
what he does next is like when he like grabs like the arm tendons and
Oh, yeah, that's a
makes
very-
the hand. I don't like that.
Yeah, that's a very
It is.
That's a very weird,
It's the one
uncomfortable
thing
part.
I will never
I think
like.
it was
is-
just for the joke of a virtuoso playing the veins like you would a string on an
Yeah.
instrument.
Those are the tendons, because he's playing the tendons to make it like
Yeah,
I,
which is
I
not
li-
how that would work.
I
but-
liked that, but that's in the shadow of a very, very creepy pillar.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, of
And-
course.
Yeah.
all of it is not good.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
whole thing. And for some reason, Dan hears all of this.
Yeah.
And is like, yeah, okay. Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it.
As established
Get
earlier.
me Meg back.
Yeah.
Dan, disorder number 4, codependency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While all of this is going on, we also get shots of the psych ward where all the previous reanimated ones were held.
They've broken
They've
out.
broken out and slaughtered more people.
Yes. Slaughtered more people.
Yes.
Started a fire.
I don't know if it's said outright, but I think it's heavily implied that Dr. Hill has control of them through some sort of mental telepathy.
Yes.
Yeah. Somehow he gets it in the first one. I can't remember exactly how that worked. But he did like control them somehow towards the end
He's
of it.
somehow, because he's also dead.
The way that he was brought back is a little bit different than other people.
Right.
I'm not spending any more brain energy.
No,
if
no,
I
no, no, no.
remember that. Because spoiler alert, I don't want to watch these movies anymore.
Right.
I'm trying to think of the next.
Well, now I know they're starting to build the
bride.
The
The bride.
bride. They've got like metal skeleton parts. It's really weird.
So UPS drops off a package at the house.
yeah, yeah, they're almost finished, and they hear The doorbell rings.
So they finished completing the bride, and Wes goes like, time to inject the serum.
Oh, yeah.
And Dan's like, no, let me do it.
Yeah.
And he injects her. And so during this time, they hear another doorbell.
Yes.
Wes goes, damn it, couldn't this have waited? And then so he goes up to collect the package, and it's this very large wooden crate.
Yeah, with no markings on it.
No.
Nothing. So he goes, well, I'll take this inside.
Yeah, I'll take and open it immediately.
Open it
1
up.
hour 15 minutes in, I am reminded of the Jim Cornette line: "Anyone who comes out of a box is over."
Yeah, Dr. Hill is definitely over.
You see styrofoam and one eyeball looking out.
Yeah.
And what happens
And
next?
he
A
gets-
flying head.
And he flies out and does nothing the
And
the
does
rest
nothing.
Of, the rest of the
He's just
He's
he's just there.
He is of zero consequence
Yeah.
for the rest
Yeah.
of the movie,
Yeah.
except for, he's flying around. That's funny.
We also get Francesca that's trying to sneak into the house.
Yeah, but and the reanimated corpses, just they're fucking zombies. The zombies are just milling around, kind of doing stuff, but just really not doing very much.
Right.
It gets to the point where Chapman finds Francesca and starts attacking her.
Yeah,
again.
he attacks her.
But then his wife comes
Attacks
up and
Chap-
attacks Chapman.
Yes.
But is also trying to attack Francesca.
Right.
It is very hard to tell when the wife is attacking Chapman and when he is just attacking Francesca.
So at some point, Francesca is able to like run into the house with
She
no
gets
one
inside.
noticing.
Yeah.
And
Chapman tries to climb up a one of those garden
like a
lattice.
vine wall.
lattice, yeah,
Yeah.
garden lattice. That doesn't work.
No.
She gets inside and all the zombies are outside. West is like walking through the house. I think he has the gun now, and he's trying to shoot the Dr. Hill bat thing.
Right.
And I believe it's at this point where before all this, Dan is in the crematorium.
comes back,
The bride awakens.
Yeah.
I actually wrote down I like the bride in the parlor scene is a very good. I will say this, my description of her reminded me of another wrestling quote from the wrestler New Jack. If they left your body in the desert, when they came back to you at the end of the day, all it'd be left would be eyeballs and titty nipples. That's what I was reminded of.
Yeah.
Seeing the full.
Then she wakes up and Dan is really weird. Towards her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see. The zombies get in. All the reanimated they get in.
Chapman busts in and is like, police, I'm here.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
As black shit's pouring out of his mouth.
Yeah.
So Dan pretty much like ushers like the bride and Francesca and Wes downstairs.
Yeah, they all
so
get
that way
downstairs.
they can barricade all themselves.
They barricade themselves in the mad scientist laboratory. Francesca is like, what the fuck is going on?
and then the
And
bride
Dan
is
is like, this is Megan.
Yeah.
This is my fiance.
This is my
Sorry that we had sex last night.
Yeah.
this is my bride to be.
And she's like, oh my God, you're all fucked up. She's not real.
And Megan becomes heavily protective of Dan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The bride.
Like swatting her away, swatting
she
West away.
like she straight up attacks Francesca.
Right.
And this finally snaps Dan out of it, and he's like, "Oh shit!" And he just turns a 180, and he's like, "You're not real!" And she freaks out, and the bride freaks out.
Well, there was a moment too, though, where he was like, he kind of had her, and he was embracing her while he was kneeling down or whatever. And then she started rubbing her leg on him.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I don't like this.
He's like, you're not Megan.
And
Yeah,
he's,
you're not
he's-
Megan.
And he's like, yeah, I wanted you for your heart, not your body. And she rips her heart out of her chest.
Yeah, well, that's later.
Oh, that's later. Never mind.
She keeps telling him, "You made me," and West is like, "No, fuck you, I made you."
I am your god.
Like that's all that he cares about.
Right.
He's like,
he wants credit. Yeah.
And yeah, they eventually break through. They open up the hole to the crypt, and this is where they find. Before then, like there's this scratching on the wall, and And Dan's like, oh, there must be a whole lot of rats on the other side. And Herbert's like, yes, rats. And we find out it's not rats.
Nope.
It's reanimated body parts.
Yep.
That West was experimenting
That
with.
Brest was experimenting on it and he discarded. Nothing will go wrong.
But
for
then,
that.
like, Dan didn't know about bullshit. Fuck, no.
Dan is the most clueless motherfucker in the entire world.
Again, goes back to his diagnosed by me, an untrained non-professional,
Right.
with the dissociative disorder. He just kind of just shuts off. It's
Right.
like, oh, okay, yeah.
Do y'all remember Toy Story and the neighbor Sid?
No, Toy Story.
Wait, I think I know what you're getting at here, but keep going.
Yeah, West is just Sid,
Kind
but
of,
as
yeah.
an adult
Yeah.
and with grown-up toys.
Yeah.
That's all he
yeah.
is.
Sid became something useful, a garbage truck driver.
Yeah.
West. So yeah, the corpses break through.
And it's at this point
The bat
when,
flies in and just like talks shit, and that's all he does.
I really legitimately believe I think the third movie should have been called Wild Wild West. I think it would have been better one than the actual Wild Wild West, and also better than Beyond Reanimator, but that's a story for another time.
So as the zombies are breaking in, and as Megan like has her heart in her hand,
Yeah.
she like screeches, and then her entire body just starts falling apart.
Starts pulling apart, and then
and the
West
only
is,
thing Wes says is tissue rejection.
yeah, he's like, nope, nope, this Dan, tissue rejection. Sure.
And then
They were the funniest part. One of the funniest parts of this is where Wes climbs through the hole and then gets attacked by all the body parts.
like, I made you all. I made you.
And then the Chapman he attacks West. And then for some reason everything just starts collapsing. They're in the crypt and
At this
Yeah.
point, all of the amalgamations start pulling them into the crypt.
yeah.
Away from the lab.
Yeah. There's like explosions and fire in the lab, but like then the stone area that's in the crypt.
They said at the beginning of the movie that like the crypt was like almost 200 years old.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason why the ceiling tiles would just start.
It's not ceiling tiles. That's rocks.
That's literally rock.
like
I'm sorry.
It's like
is it a ceiling and is it in the form of tiles?
it's like a car. It's that's because
Tiles,
this was
no, but ceiling.
because
I'll
the
give
budget-
you ceiling.
That's because the budget of this movie was not good, but those were meant to be like just pieces, like giant pieces of rock. For some reason, everything starts collapsing. Dr. Hill is still doing nothing and talking shit, and then it collapses on everybody except Dan and Francesca were able to get out. Herbert is caught in the collapse.
Hill was just like grounded, just going no.
Yeah.
Hill is crushed and laughing, and then the movie just ends.
Yeah, and then
it just
and then
ends.
crits.
The movie ends with a shot of Megan with her arm still holding the heart, and the heart just
Stopped
shrivels.
beating.
So there was one thing we skipped. It was just a little bit of a monologue that I wanted I couldn't remember it verbatim, but I got it pulled up here. When Francesca walks downstairs and sees the bride, she calls West blasphemous.
Yeah.
And then
This
he says blasphemous before what? God? A God repulsed by the miserable humanity he created in his own image? I will not be shackled by the failures of your God. The only blasphemy is to wallow in insignificance. I have taken refuse of your God's failures and I have triumphed. There's my creation. That's probably like one of the best lines I
Yeah.
think he says in the movie.
Oh yeah, he's got some good ones in this.
What was your unprofessional psych analysis of West?
Autism. I wrote that in capital letters.
Maniacal.
Sociopathy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has all the psycho, socio.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't break from reality. He just doesn't have morals. the way
Motherfucker, he is
human beings-
raising corpses.
Yeah,
he
because
is
he-
horribly broken from reality.
because he thinks that he can do that because he's better than everybody.
He has
He
no
can.
attachment
He's
to
proven that
morality.
he's able to do that.
Yeah,
though.
he just never does it the way he wants to, and no matter how many, he's been trying for 2 fucking movies, and I'm imagining I'm not gonna watch Beyond Reanimator, but he keeps trying and it keeps fucking failing.
all of this has happened within the span of at least 10 months.
It's less than that. The movie probably takes place in like 3 days.
Beyond Re-Animator takes place like years after
Yeah.
Well,
Bride.
it was a 2003 movie, so it better be.
And
Good Lord.
he starts in prison.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he obviously didn't die from giant rocks falling on him.
He should.
Yes.
He should.
Well, like he's the only thing in the movie. Like if you don't have
West.
Jeffrey Combs, like you
Right.
don't have Re-Animator.
Right.
It just is like there's nothing interesting about the movies otherwise.
Right.
To be honest. Yeah.
No, that's a fair take.
Yeah. He makes the movies.
He does.
Whenever he's not on screen, everybody should be saying, "Hey, where's Jeffrey Combs?"
Right. Right.
The tagline from the poster: "Date, mate, reanimate."
Gross.
So that was Bride of Re-Animator.
That was Bride of
That was
Re-Animator.
indeed
Yeah.
Bride of Re-Animator.
I watched Big Trouble in Little China immediately after watching this.
I don't blame you. I
Like
don't blame
again,
you.
most of it was because I knew it was going to be a long week. I needed
Yeah.
eye Clorox.
I made Alfredo after
This
this.
Oh, you made pasta?
Jesus. Italian style.
Bianca found the mating tent.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, this is a movie that you watch with people.
Yeah.
This is not a movie
That's a 100%.
Yeah.
that you watch. Neither one of the Re-Animator movies that I have watched are movies that are that great alone.
I think
Although,
the first one holds up a little. After I haven't seen the second one in such a long time that the first one holds up as a pretty decent mixture of mad scientist / zombie film.
This movie was an experience I will never forget.
That's another reason why I
I
picked
think
it.
I like this movie better than I like the original one.
I've always thought, particularly Re-Animator, not as a Senna, but it was heavily influenced to me by The Evil Dead. And it's one of the reasons why it's one of the reasons why the house in this one reminded me so much of The Evil Dead. Because I think just kind of the old look to it, like the cabin looked old, but then also had the basement
Right.
where the real action's going to happen there. So I was thinking it was going there. The first Re-Animator, I think, did a better job at body horror comedy than I think this one does. I think there's moments in this where I think the tones are too muddled.
I think
Yeah, I mean,
think
I see
also
that.
there was more of a focus of more of a vision. Also, I think the screenplay is better in the original movie than in the second movie. It seems like they did a lot of like, let's make Herbert West say a couple of funny one-liners here and there, and you know, it didn't have like a lot of what he said, with the exception of that one monologue about blasphemy, didn't have the same weight as some of the very small things he said in the original movie.
What was I supposed to say? What was I supposed to say, Dan? Cat dead? Details later?
Yeah. By the way, I have a signed poster of Re-Animator by Jeffrey Combs,
Oh, that's pretty cool.
and a friend of mine got it for me at a Comic-Con many years ago. And all she said was, "Write something funny," and that's what he wrote on it. And he wrote
Nice.
a little Post-it note like around it.
That's
I
funny.
love you, Jeffrey
That's great.
Combs.
That's great.
That's amazing.
Well, the reason that Jody picked this is because we thought like, hey, what are some movies to get people into horror? So how do we think this holds up as a movie to get somebody into horror?
I think that it's got like a lot of a mixture of dark comedy,
Yeah.
body horror. It's
Without
got
going over the top.
it's got a compared to some other films, because my original pick was Dead Alive, Brain
Oh,
Dead.
Jesus Christ.
But that movie has, even though it's a dark comedy, quote unquote, it's
Yeah.
got so much fucking blood and gore in it that I think that would
Yeah.
turn a lot of people off.
And I think you can make that same argument with like Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2.
Right.
That's definitely.
I would, if like for that, I would start people with Army of Darkness.
Yeah, Army of Darkness is almost the better one because like you get that slapstick horror comedy, but you don't get quite as much of the over the top gore.
It eases you into it.
To me, though, this is how I feel as a fan of
Yeah.
horror. That Army of Darkness is a comedy movie with horror themes in it more than it is a horror movie.
That can be definitely argued, I would say. Yeah, this like it's hard to say because like if I told somebody like we told Ethan, hey, watch this movie, you don't need to watch the first one, they're gonna call you a fucking liar after this. They're like, I'm so
To
confused.
this day, I'm
It
calling you a
starts
liar.
with a floating head
Yeah.
for no good goddamn
Yeah, you're like,
calls a
okay,
man-
to explain this part to you, I have to tell you the plot of Re-Animator.
It calls someone a bastard. That's all I know.
But I think when it comes to like the funny horror, like the only thing about the first one is like you said, there's a scene of
Subjective,
of a
subjectional, not subjectional. God, what's
sexual assault.
Yeah.
That doesn't play very well in the year of our Lord 2024.
No.
It is very uncomfortable.
Whether it's a zombie or not, it's still weird.
It's not.
And-
It's
and
not. It's not played as like a good thing. It's definitely a bad thing that happens.
It's definitely a bad thing that happens.
But
And
it
like
was also
some of
not
it, some of it is
necessary.
completely not necessary. Like some of it is more implied, but there's some of it that's not implied.
Yeah, and there's also like some nudity in there that is
Unnecessary
that
as
is
well.
very unnecessary because it makes you feel very uncomfortable, and you could argue that's the point. But regardless, but yeah, like these are also movies where they do like the body horror and the horror comedy stuff, but they don't get as extreme with the gore and stuff. Like there's still a lot of gore and blood and stuff, but it's not as
People aren't getting
as
eaten
hard.
for the
Yeah.
most part.
yeah. There's not like the lawnmower scene in Dead Alive,
Right. Well,
which-
people.
Okay, that for me goes so over the top in Dead Alive that at that point becomes funny to me because I
I mean,
know
that's what it's supposed to do. Yeah,
Right. I think that where that approaches that works. This one kind of hovered that like again talking about tone. You know, where was this supposed to be funny? Where was this supposed to be serious and things like
Sure.
that? I don't think
Yeah.
that there was a balance of tone like there
Sure.
was
Yeah.
in Re-Animator. Yes,
It's very possible that like the dude who took over as a director just isn't as good as director.
I think
as the
also for
original
me
guy.
personally, if I had seen Bride of Re-Animator within the past 5 years, I probably wouldn't have picked it because for me, it doesn't hold up as well as I thought it did, but because it had been like probably like more than 10 years since I've seen it. So my memory, you know how memory, like, you know, you only pick like the best parts of stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I got a movie about that for you. It's called I Saw the TV Glow. But yeah, it's. I really don't know, like with this like type of movie, what would be a good one for that. This is again, these are movies like I would never. Both of the Re-Animator and Bride of Re-Animator, I would never tell somebody to watch them getting into horror just as themselves. But I would say if you have a group of friends who are okay with like campy kind of over the top movies, get together and maybe watch these.
and less on gore, but more on weird. From Beyond would also be one I wouldn't recommend.
Oh, okay, yeah.
This would be
that
a
one
movie,
is less funny and just more out there.
Just weird. Yeah.
This would be a movie I would tell someone to watch if I'm also watching it with them
yeah,
to see to know what their experience is going to be like.
yeah.
Sure. That's fair.
I'm trying to think. Like I just can't think of like another thing that's.
It also stands out as like there's not many movies like the Re-Animator films either,
Yeah,
because they definitely, you know, they fall into the category of, especially the second one where, you know, the tone.
So here's a strangely adjacent rabbit hole. I'll
Sure.
go down with this one. So David Gale is the actor who played Dr. Hill. For the longest time, I thought that was the name of the guy who wrote the Back to the Future movies. And it's like, okay, let me figure this out. It's like, no. David Gale, character actor. Bob Gale, writer. But then I found out Bob Gale, in addition to writing Back to the Future, wrote the story for the never-released arcade game Tattoo Assassins.
Oh,
What is that career trajectory?
Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's all I got. I got nothing
Right,
else.
right.
Yeah, I'm tapped, man.
David Gale was also in a lot of full moon movies. He was in quite a
yeah.
few of those.
Yeah.
Well, he definitely was in at least one Puppet Master, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I believe he was in Puppet Master
Was it 2 or 3?
3.
Was it 3?
I
Is
believe
that
I
with
could
the
swear,
Lilith
yeah.
Reich?
I believe he was the bad guy in 3. I want to say.
No, I think 4 was the Lilith Reich. something. The third one was like Somebody's Revenge or something like that.
Tulane's Revenge.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so David Gale, the movie we reviewed, born in Wimbledon, so it's that's kind of cool. Died. So this movie came out in 1990. He died in 1991.
Jesus.
Jeez.
God bless his efforts. I will say that right now.
What full moon movies was he in? Because now I got to know.
He was in the Tales from the Dark Side film.
Oh, okay.
I don't see any. We may have just completely crossed that up. My bad.
What else was he in?
That.
So he's got a lot of soaps in the 80s.
Yeah, he does look like a soap opera actor.
Sure.
Yeah, Barbara Crampton, who was Megan from the original movie, she was also a soap opera actress.
Yeah.
She was supposed to reappear in this one, but they couldn't get the conflicts out of the way, so she didn't appear in it.
I will say, now that I think about it, you mentioned her because she's in a movie that I watched very recently called The Substance, which is definitely was definitely influenced by like Re-Animator and the movies that are in this kind of like over the top cheesy genre subgenre of horror. That one might be one. I didn't love it, but I think that somebody who like loves these types of movies might.
He's
like
in
that.
The Brain with that giant face brain that is
From 1988.
From 88. Yeah, he's in The Brain as a doctor, of course.
Was he in a movie called Cronus?
Yeah, he was in Ryan's Hope, which is an American soap opera. Yeah, there's a bunch of, oh my God.
Yeah, I was about to say, you have yet to name something besides these Re-Animator movies that I know of him.
James.
Yeah.
I have information on Tattoo Assassins.
Okay.
It is an arcade fighting game.
Yes, I know.
Yeah,
We've played it over there. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm well aware, sir.
Is it over there?
Yes,
It's in there.
Yeah, we can play Tattoo Assassins right now.
Yep.
Oh God, I do not want to.
It is. It is not a good game.
I do not want to.
It has over 2,000 fatalities.
One of which involves a woman farting fire at
Yeah.
someone.
Yeah.
Well, you got to do it sometimes.
Eventually.
I think.
Oh, that's creepy. He died of complications from open heart surgery.
Ew.
His attending doctor was Dr. Herbert Fest. Oh, no!
Oh, damn.
Jeffrey Combs, you monster.
Damn. Really living the gimmick, huh?
Yeah, there you go. That's character acting right there.
I think that's all that we got.
I think.
Yeah, I think accusing Jeffrey Combs of medical
medical
murder.
malpractice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's where it's got to end there. Jody's still looking shit up.
Joey's like, I'll end this.
Jody's
I'm in charge of this show.
He was-
I'll end this when I damn well please.
he was in the Guyver as the bad guy, the live action Guyver movie.
Oh, okay, there we
That's
go.
where I remember him from.
Didn't we mention that
We
earlier?
did.
Yes.
Herbert West is Dr. East in that movie.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. David Gale.
They're both in that movie?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. And Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. That's ooh.
There was a daytime soap called The Doctors, and the episode he was in is dated the day before I was born.
Wow.
Yeah, so that episode aired, and then I was born.
He's in an episode of Dukes of Hazzard, and the name of the episode is Cooter's Girl.
No, we're done. Let's go to the happy happies. We gotta.
Jody, end this now,
it.
please.
You can't end that on anything better.
Yeah.
If you like listening to us, you might like listening to some of our friends. Ethan, plug a show.
The completed podcast. Hey, do you agree with these most recent Magic the Gathering bannings? If you do, voice your concerns at the completed podcast. They're the magic people.
They're the magic
They're the
people.
magic people.
Jay, tell us about wrestling.
Censored.
Whiskey and Wrestling. I'm Michael Hill and Jason Holder. They will bring you a week's worth of news and views in the world of professional wrestling, along with a wonderful libation. Hopefully, wonderful libation. Sometimes it's the Rock's vodka.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's
tequila,
Canadian.
sir.
Oh, was it tequila? Okay.
Yes, I was on that episode, unfortunately.
Oh my God.
Oh, my.
You had the Rock
Why haven't
tequila.
you sued them yet?
Yeah.
There you go. And also Canadian Hunter. No, that's no good. But for wrestling and drinking, try Whiskey and Wrestling. Available on all major podcasting platforms.
Brady, do a show.
Virology. If you liked this talking about horror, how about talking about horror with only one guy? And that guy is Jody Kite. Wherever the podcasts come from, go get it there.
Ethan.
You like drums? Listen to Bearded Drums.
You like beards?
You like beards?
You like bearded drums? Give them a listen to. Stephen Nelson II, our good friend JT Jarrett Taylor, talking about gears and gigs involving drumming. They're good.
That laughter suggests they're not good, Jody.
Why are you laughing
The
like that?
way-
They are good.
The way he said that. They're good. All right. What else we got? Is that it?
Magnum Gaming. Check them out. Goshen, Mississippi. God Emperor of Gaming.
You can get jeweled lotuses at a discount.
They're actually picking up mana crypts.
Yeah, you got extra mana crypts you want to load off.
they've freed up some money for Mana Crypt. It's going to be great.
I don't think thankfully for the store's sake that they had many of any of those cards that got banned that were worth any money.
Oh no, because everyone bought them before it got banned.
Yeah, it's usually how that goes. It's like, ooh, the store's got a mana crypt.
Guess who was one of those suckers?
We spoke of whiskey and wrestling. Jason got a box of Modern Masters 2 on the sly, and he opened everything up, and one was a foil full art Dockside.
Yeah, he told me about
and then
that.
he was coming to the shop on Wednesday to sell it, and then Monday the ban list went in. It's like, well,
Yeah.
At the very least, he pulled it and didn't buy it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that
there
is a good
at
thing
least
there.
that.
Right.
and yeah.
So
I
everyone,
think that's
So
about it.
if you enjoyed this week's horror film review,
check out
next week. Ethan has selected The Invisible Man from 2020.
Yeah.
And we're going to be watching that and reviewing again, full spoilers. So just be aware of that. And yeah.
I think that's it for Travelers on the Omnibus. I've been your host, Jody Kite.
I've been EHS.
I am J. Julius McCarthy, as established earlier.
I am Brady Davis, and he's a wife beater. Get the gun.
Bang! Oh, God! He actually shot him.
Go get a job at the sideshow.
She's
She's
hysterical.
hysterical.
What was I supposed to say? Cat dead. Details later?
Mr. West, I suggest you get a pen.
I'm the police. I'm here.
I'm coming to get you, Cat. That was The Invisible Man.